Welcome back to the kitchen in which we died in the previous episode. This is the Evil Within. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you will have a good time staying with us here. We last left off trying to burn some of Ruvik's portraits in this kitchen so as to free Leslie and progress with the stage, of course. And trust me when I do say that these 4 stealth sections in the first DLC, the assignment, I believe they were difficult, fair and fine, but not as difficult as this game has put you in. There, I guess they were still training you to get accustomed to not playing with the gun, and within this particular part of the DLC, they assume you've already learned how the stealth mechanic works. Fair and fine, I believe that the stealth is not as tight as I would want it to be. Similar games to stealth in games similar to, for example, Metal Gear. The stealth isn't just that tight, considering the fact that Metal Gear was based on the premise of stealth for many years.
Leslie, no. Please don't. It's all right. Everything's gonna be fine. I hope.
And that's the freeing of Leslie.
This way.
In conjunction with the main story of the game, this is the particular portion, I believe, whereby Sebastian had managed to find Joseph and they were moving together searching for Kidman. They had split up after the bus crashed, so Kidman was stuck at the top of the building, of course, where the bus crashed. Her being the driver, of course. And Sebastian and Joseph had stayed, well, after the crash had been lost, so they were on the lower levels right now, and this is the part in which, in the main game, they made you believe they'd met, but there actually was a different entity as well. I hope you'll see this cutscene and try to remember the original game, and you'll see for yourself the things that have changed.
Leslie can go home? Can take the train all the way home?
No, Leslie. Not today.
You'll protect me?
Yes. That's my job.
Good. When I get home, they'll be surprised.
It's not your fault. I'm sorry.
Stop! You're making a terrible mistake.
You don't understand. You don't know what he'll become.
We know exactly what he'll become. That's why we need him.
You don't understand what Ruvik is after.
Ruvik is a corpse.
He's after Leslie.
And so are we. And you're more afraid of him than us?
Don't patronize me. I have orders, but I can't let him have this boy. Leslie is the only one who can...
Don't do it! Damn it! No!
If people get the references and remember that cutscene from, should I say cutscene from the original game, That's when Sebastian finally confronted Kidman and was threatening her. Well, not threatening her, but asking her questions, what she was after and what she wanted with the boy. But we also get to see a different side of that same encounter. Now we see it from Kidman's eyes. Fair and fine, Sebastian and Joseph were there, but the true entities that were at play were Mobius and Ruvik within Leslie himself.
Oh shit. He's too far gone. I've got to stop him.
And pretty much the DLC ends just like the main game. Well, at least the ending sequences of the DLC are exactly where the game began. The entrance to the hospital when they were all inducted into this STEM the STEM machine that they were connected to. It's, I don't know, in terms of storytelling, this, not gimmick, but this mode of storytelling has been done many a time before. I don't know what role it has in this game. Maybe someone more knowledgeable, more intelligent than me could help me understand the whole concept of starting where everything ends where it began, what that has to do with the evil within. I'm sure there is some context towards it, of course, but I'm trying to figure out what's the main cause.
Answer our questions. What are you afraid of? What could haunt you so? What could you need that only we could be the ones to fill it?
Out of the way!
Then things change. One interesting thing, I don't know if many people will care about this by now, but people have noticed, well, I assume people have noticed, that if you are in pursuit, let's just say there are monsters chasing you, and you enter a door, and during the animation in which she opens the door and closes it, the pursuit ends. I'll continue on that trail of thought after this.
The patients are dying when connected to the machine? What are you implying, Jimenez?
After what you did to him, now all of this is just conjecture. But it's as if Ruben's consciousness remains trapped inside STEM, and he's attacking anyone attempting to enter.
This is inexcusable. We need to get around this. We can't have come all this way for nothing.
Ruvik. He was in STEM all along. Well, he's not gonna get me.
As I was saying, as soon as you enter a checkpoint or a door that's supposedly marked as a checkpoint, all combat, all pursuit ends. Someone could just say that's an easy way of balancing gameplay, because imagine if monsters could chase you from one stage to another, it would make the game a bit more difficult because now you have...
But why Leslie? What makes him special?
Leslie was not always like this. He became catatonic after a traumatic experience as a child. His family was murdered in front of him. The data would suggest that brainwave synchronization with Ruben correlates to specific trauma. In this case, Ruben's own loss of family.
This will not do. We need something else at the core. Something more acceptable to a whole range of people.
As I was saying, it would make things a little bit weird if monsters from a previous stage could follow you to a next stage. So people will think to themselves, but it's just a door, what's stopping them from breaking it? When you look at it from the STEM point of view though, it kind of is, it's an interesting take on the fact that in our mind that there are things, our mind is vast in terms of data.
They grow impatient with our progress and demand briefings on the development process. At first stressing the results, but now they work off a timeline based on their needs. Typical bureaucrats. I've been pushing Ruben, but he's retreated further, doing his research at home, and refusing to come to the lab unless it's directly working on our STEM prototype. I'm feeling uneasy, and no doubt Mobius is looking on us with question.
So there are things that we lock away in certain portions of our minds. Maybe there are certain memories that we lock away in a place whereby you just don't want to remember that again, whether it be through trauma or not. There are certain things that you vividly remember because they bring you certain emotions or certain context in your life that is very vivid.
We need someone rational inside STEM. Potentially that person could neutralize Ruben. I mean, Ruvik. With my knowledge of the system, I may be of some...
Absolutely not. We can't afford you complicating this any further. We will prepare one of our own.
Sending someone inexperienced, we can't even be sure they can come back.
Then it will need to be someone expendable.
Expendable. So that's how you see me. And I trusted you.
And so you could also picture it in the sense whereby one room or one encounter with all these different enemies and all these different situations is experiencing certain emotions and experiencing certain thoughts for the first time, or the how manyth time you would like to experience it. And then when you move on, you lock it away. Hence why it cannot come back to haunt you or to hunt you down. You choose not to believe it and you choose not to think about it anymore. And in terms of gameplay, at least if you put it in that context, then at least it becomes a little bit more acceptable. But for some people, they could still argue that still it's not as fun.
What the hell? Where am I now?
The butcher, or should I say the butchery? At first, when I got here, I was thinking to myself, just imagine if the butcher is still there, because they gave you the hand axe, and I was really shocked. I was like, how exactly are we going to fight the butcher as Kidman, considering the fact that we had to run away as Sebastian, and the encounter really didn't go so well. But me being me, I took it really cautiously. I wasn't really sure. Then I was like, heck, let's explore the place and see what's happening here.
Sebastian was here?
I don't know. I feel that this game took... I don't know. It played on some of the old concepts of creating survival horror, using sounds, using lack of sight, jump scares, etc., and intense, difficult situations to cause fear within the player. But I don't know. I feel that Shinji and the developers were trying to go for a more psychological horror, something that scares you with how can I explain this? I'm not really good at defining words, but psychological horror in the sense that you see something or you experience something that induces fear from what you have experienced in real life. For example, back in the day when I was a kid, I used to be really very afraid of the dark.
Do whatever you want. You're not gonna stop me.
I used to be extremely afraid of the dark, such that playing horror games like, for example, Silent Hill and Alone in the Dark, which were games that abused, should I say, that really abused the concept of not being able to see what's coming for you. You are alone in this very difficult situation, and it's pitch black. It's just you and the small light, and being caught alone in the dark really made the game that much more scary for me, considering the fact that there were other concepts of psychological and physical horrors that the game was playing on. I still feel that that extra bit, that extra concept, that darkness, the lack of vision, the lack of not knowing what's around the next corner, and even if you know what's around the next corner, what will you do if you can't see it? You have to guess where it is. And that just added the fear for me, brought a lot of nightmares, I do have to say. But it was an experience nonetheless. Now, I feel that with this game,
Enough of this shit.
what really took the game down, or should I say what really pulled down on expectations of the game, was the fact that there was this take on insanity and on mental the mental state of people, and all this premise that could have been good in a psychological horror game, something akin to what Amnesia did as a horror game. I feel that they could have played on it more. I would rather they have made a game that was so scary that, for example, it was banned in most countries, but really drove home the concepts that Shinji would have wanted to drive home. But of course, you have to sell games. It's all about selling as many units as possible. I don't know. You can tell me what you think about that. I don't even know how I missed that shot. Sadly, I don't know. Did I see? No, I didn't. I didn't notice that there were actually bullets on the stairs. And then now we had to do things the very slow and very dangerous way, trying to go in for the melee kill with the axe. You could have died here. I do have to say, these monsters' vision is exceptionally good. Oh, run. Nope, nope, nope. What did I end up doing here? Oh yes, I ended up hiding in here just in case. I don't know. I believe that this game could have really taken it to the next level, but as it stands, most of the community didn't receive this game as well as people would have hoped it to have been received, in terms of it being a really good blockbuster horror game. But for me, I'm stuck with the game. I guess unlike most people, I would like to give some games a shot. And the more I've played it, and the more I've played the DLCs, I've tried to slowly understand some of the things that they were trying to go for within the game, and it's interesting, but too bad it wasn't as fleshed out as it could have been. Fair and fine, the game length was long, but sometimes length isn't enough with a lack of context. And I don't know, storytelling bridged that gap, but not as good. Let's see. In this particular situation, we had these monsters again that react to sound but have no sight. I kind of enjoyed this whole design on different types of monsters that can see but they can't hear, and monsters that can hear but can't see, and giving you the choice to engage. You can either not open the door and fight the monster that can see and potentially waste your ammunition, or you could sneak past the monster that can see and then play with the monsters that can hear by manipulating the sound within the room, whereby the other monster can't actually take you down. You won't walk through the door, you won't hear it when the door is closed. So instead I chose the simple way to mess around with the sound. Boom. Almost got me killed though. Almost got me killed. Now the true question lies, since the game ended on somewhat of a cliffhanger, would they be a continuation of the story? Because as it stands, the story can possibly end, but they could just leave it in a state of, now that Ruvik is in the world and everyone knows the power of STEM, what will happen next? And then you are left to your devices to kind of piece out a story as to what do you think will happen, what do you think will happen to humanity when this machine is now available in all capacity, and also the fact that Ruvik is out to get his revenge on humanity. It's a really sticky situation in terms of what could potentially happen. And it's an interesting thing. I don't know. Or they could just continue the story and put a solid conclusion as to what happened. And there goes what I was talking about earlier on when it comes to closing a door. Fair and fine, that door locked itself, but still going on the tropes of mental state and different capacities of the mind, different placements of the mind in terms of where the mind keeps thoughts and emotions.
Very disappointing, kid. Such a simple mission, but still, you act out. Thankfully for us, there's always a backup plan. Not everything we give you is for your benefit.
The infusion. What did you put in me?
We needed to know if one of us could survive in the system. But we're not about to risk anyone of value. You were sent to carry us in with you. So here I am.
No. It's Ruvik. He's making all of this.
Now we get that. Fair and fine, they've been giving us some good dialogue throughout the entire part of this this last chapter, even though sadly I was talking about other things. If you're paying attention to most of the dialogue that they were giving, it's really good in terms of the information of what's going on. But right there, Mobius said something very key, very interesting. He says that we wanted to ensure that we could put someone we could control within the system, within this experiment, and not only just so that they could peer into the experiment and see what's happening, but to also allow them to experience what is happening. So when Kidman was drugged within the hospital before they placed her in the machine, she didn't actually know what the drug was, but it was supposedly this infusion she was talking about, which allowed them to carry Mobius into this machine as well, whether it be visually seen on the machine or he's actually connected as well and is in control. But there's the concept of this document though.
Please, roll up your sleeve.
Whoa now! That's a big syringe. Don't think you're putting that fucking thing in me.
Miss Kidman, you agreed to this. Don't forget that. Nothing we're doing is malicious. It's only proper protocol.
You know what's proper protocol? Telling the person getting the fucking shot where the hell she is and what's the fucking point. Ow! Damn it, that hurt! Hey guys, what the fuck? Is anyone there? You give me a shot, then just let this weird video play on repeat? Some great fucking medical science you've got going on here. About damn time. Alright, can I go now?
Not right now, Miss Kidman. How are you feeling? Any headaches? Nosebleeds, perhaps?
What? No. But I do feel a little floaty. Almost like I'm underwater.
That's consistent with the effects of the compound. We just have one last part of this test to partake in. Then you will be free to go.
Sure. Go for it, I guess.
Good. I will now ask you a series of questions. You will answer them while watching the images in front of you. You will not look away from the screen. Do you understand?
Yes.
Question number 1. Have you ever felt abandoned by the ones you trusted?
The voice of the woman who was actually speaking to Kidman in that particular document.
You gave yourself to us. You made the choice of your own free will.
Keep it in mind.
We were the only ones who cared. The ones who took you from your useless life. We gave you a reason to exist. And how do you thank us? By destroying our work? Where will you go when you leave us, kid?
Keep the voice of the woman who was talking to Kidman in mind. It will actually be not as much of a I guess you could say it will be a shocker in the end who the voice of that woman truly is, but it's going to be really something interesting. But besides that, let's try crack this safe. I've done a terrible job of ever caring to find all the data pieces. I don't know, maybe one day I'll care. Kinda makes me wonder what the next DLC installment will be, because when I first purchased the season pass, it says that this is the last story part of the DLC, as in the story concludes here. So in the next DLC, what will it be? Will it be like some I don't know, like some challenge mode or some mercenaries mode, like what used to be done for Resident Evil, except chasing the safe head guy? I don't know. It's really interesting and very interesting. One thing, if you notice that most of the bodies that are on the floor fade as you walk near them, keep that in mind. It shows that Kidman is now well, I believe that it shows that Kidman is now detaching herself from the machine. Because those are bodies within the mind of Ruvik, but not bodies in real life, of course. But when imagery begins to fade, it means that you are slowly being detached from the machine, or you are detaching yourself. I didn't understand how they could see in the dark, so in the end you can just use your torch. There's no need to actually turn it off like I was doing. Oh, never grab.
You won't answer our questions. Is it out of fear? Fear is such a subtle thing. But when one experiences true fear, is when they can be controlled. They can be molded. STEM is an abortion, a machine designed on the premise of fear. But in a sense, it is perfect for what we hope to achieve. You will be the first. You will bow under this fear, or you will die. You will serve as an example for what we will become.
Wait! Don't go in there!
And here we are at the STEM machine.
This is me.
What the?
I'm connected. Just like everyone else. I'm getting out of here.
This is the representation of the STEM machine within Ruvik's mind, so some Inception stuff right here. You get to see the body of Jimenez. You get to see the body of Kidman. Pretty much everyone who's attached to the machine within this bath, where they are sedated and injected into the mind of Ruvik, into the mind of STEM. Oh well. Guess that's it. We'll see you soon. Nope, it just doesn't end that easily. That was a really good, I really enjoyed that. The first time it happened, I was just like, whoa, what, that's it, it ends? We just shoot our way out, no conclusion to Mobius. Or maybe it will be all concluded in a cutscene, but nah, it was just a joke, because that's pretty much how the main game ended, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Sebastian, get away from him. Sebastian, listen to me. Stop. Your interests are the same as ours.
Look, I get it. You're not just some rookie detective, and this is not just some ordinary kid. You killed Joseph and you shot me. So right at this moment, that's enough reason for me not to trust you.
You're a good man. That's why It doesn't matter anymore. If you know who this kid is, if you know anything, you know why he can't be allowed to live.
Bullshit. It's Ruvik. He's the one that... Leslie, stop! Leslie!
You failed. We gave you an order and you failed.
No. None of this is real. You aren't real.
You want to believe that, but I'm right here. I've been with you this whole time.
This world is a nightmare. But I'm not afraid of you anymore.
That just shows how little you understand. You should be very afraid. We have you, kid. And you know the consequences for failure. We won't let you just leave us. You fulfilled what little you two have. This world is a prison for you to rot in.
Fuck you. I've had enough of this. I'll kill you right here.
This is pretty much the supposedly final confrontation with the drug that is Mobius within our system. pay attention to the ground, of course, you will see markings. And these markings will be your excess, your extra ammunition that you need. Didn't do a great job of picking it up though. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I was just being disorientated by this whole camera switch. Oh, then I got caught. Luckily enough, it's not an insta kill though. Then I thought to myself, okay, now at least we know when to attack or who to attack. Pick up some ammunition though.
What does this world look like to you?
Don't know if that question was supposed to have any true meaning to this particular stage, because it does ask, what does this world look like to you? And all you ever see is light and dark.
Try and fight us, Kidman.
Now we get some psycho shit. Being haunted by ourselves, but at least our puppets. Luckily enough, they don't actually attack as violently as I thought they would. They can actually just walk near you, but they telegraph their attacks unless you get hit by the grab, of course. Now the grab is very few animations and can catch you off guard, giving the other one a chance to kill you. Ooh, like that. Ran out of stamina there.
There cannot be progress without sacrifice.
You're going to die, kid.
Kind of an interesting note that Mobius said there. There can't be progress without sacrifice. It's kind of true. Most medical innovations in real life have been through trial and error, and a lot of people were tested on and brutally murdered with these experiments. Just look at some of the medical advancements that were discovered in Nazi Germany at the expense of people's lives. People were killed for those medical advancements that are saving lives today. So you have to ask yourself, what is the value of life?
It's a shame you'll never see what we accomplished. You think you can run, but you're ours!
Now we're drawing closer and closer and closer to the end. Mobius giving us a beating of our lives, but exposing a weakness. Almost died there, actually. And we say goodbye to Mobius. Kind of makes you wonder though. This thing, was Mobius real or just an ideal of this company? That it's the rules and regulations that have been set to control Kidman, but this is not the true Mobius.
I am with you. I will always be with you now.
You don't know me. I'm stronger than you think.
Are you sure enough in yourself? Sure enough to face the responsibilities of your actions?
How the hell?
Agent Kidman, we've got him from here.
How long has it been?
37 minutes since the first pulse.
How did we get here?
What are you talking about?
Just give me a minute. I need to get my head straight.
Myra! We need you back here.
All right. But we've got word he wants a debriefing as soon as you get back.
At least we know what happened to Sebastian's wife after all.
Myra.
Remember that voice. Makes you wonder if Sebastian's daughter died in a real accident, or could have been something to do with STEM as well.
Ah, damn it. What the... They were right. I failed. But they didn't count on you. I owe you one. Welcome back to the real world, Sebastian. I hope you find what you're looking for. Leave that one. And those two. They're not going anywhere.
No one is.